Everybody wants to have a brand now. Why? Because you can put yourself out there so easily that if you don't have a brand, how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else? Hi, this is Rob G and welcome to Savvy. Today I want to talk to you about how to brand yourself. And you know, personal branding has become quite a thing these days as people become more aware that who they are and what they do and what they stand for is their brand. And I want to get right into that because the first step in how to brand yourself is actually knowing what is branding. There's many definitions out there that I've heard. I have some of my favorites. In essence, a brand is expressed out of the personality of the driving force of the business. So if it's the founder, usually that business's personality is expressed out of that person. That's a little bit more kind of flighty. But here's an excellent, very concrete definition that I love, and I go to this. So branding is what people are saying about your business when you're not around. Let that sink in for a second, because that's the honest truth of it. You know, people think that when they think of brand, they think of logo, they think of the mark. You know, you think of Apple, they have the Apple graphic. They think that's brand, that's branding. That's not branding, that's a logo. A lot of times people will think about, you know, what's written on their shirt. So that might be a logo and the logo type and maybe some other things on there and the colors, that's the brand. No, that's not the brand, that's the logo, that's part of the identity system. Branding is a whole lot more. Branding is the logo, it is the website, it's the colors, it's the font, it's the culture, it's the personality of the business. That's branding if you want to break it down and discuss the elements underneath the umbrella of branding. So how do you brand yourself? Before we get into the how, I just want to touch on something that actually is more important, and that's the why. So why would you brand yourself? And I want to stay on point here, so I'm going to look at my iPad and make sure that I got the proper information. So there is a path that is followed in terms of the branding path from the time you say our business is launched and we're putting ourselves out there in the marketplace till you get to the end result, which is customer loyalty, because that's ultimately what you want, right? You want customer loyalty. You want happy customers that keep coming back and talk about you in a positive way to other people so they can spread the good word about your offerings and become customers as well. So here's the path. The first thing you want to do, the reason why you want to do is because you want to build awareness, an awareness that your company exists. So that might be the first time somebody sees you in a Google listing, the first time somebody hears your company's name mentioned. That's the awareness. A person becomes aware that you're out there. Then after more exposure, they've heard other people talk, they've seen a website, maybe they saw some advertising, maybe they heard you being mentioned on a podcast or in a video. So what does that create? Familiarity. They start to become familiar with your business. So now it's not something that, it's not like it's the first time they've heard it. They're like, oh, yeah, I've heard of them. They sound familiar. That's the next stage. After the familiarity stage, that potential customer moves into a consideration phase. So that phase is they're ready to buy the thing that you offer, but they're not so sure that you're going to be the one they purchase from. So they make a list of potential vendors or companies that offer that same thing, and you are on that list, so you're being considered for that purchase. After the consideration, hopefully you become the choice. And once you've become the choice, they've decided to buy from you, and hopefully you offer quality service or product so that they can keep coming back and they enjoy the experience of purchasing from you. So it's not just the thing that they get that they're happy with your company, the employees, the staff, the website is friendly, all the other things that go with it, the experience makes them come back if it's good, and then you generate loyalty. So starting from awareness right through to loyalty, branding brings your company through that path in a very sequential and consistent and predictable pattern and path. Does that make sense? So that's why branding is so important. When I learned that, it made a lot of sense to me, and that's why I started doing what I'm doing. I started out doing websites and logos and many years in print design, but the whole branding thing really, it ties everything together because it's so critical. As I said at the start of the video, everybody wants to have a brand now. Why? Because you can put yourself out there so easily that if you don't have a brand, how do you differentiate yourself from everybody else? A good brand. So that does bring us now to the how. So how do you do it? Well, the first step is almost like it sounds a little kind of out there too, but it's knowing who you are. It's knowing yourself. It's owning who you are and then amplifying it. So you know that, so our company, GenovesiWeb.com, we focus into the fitness and health industry. And when you look at influencers in that industry, if you're in the fitness realm and you may have some people that you turn to for expert advice, whether it be lifting in the gym, or if it's nutrition, or if it's motivation. But if you're in there, you might have some people you follow for a particular reason. I want to give you two examples. There's Steve Cook, who is, if you've seen Steve, he's a very likable, relatable, mainstream, clean-cut type of West Coast looking guy. He's not polarizing. He just is very relatable to most kinds of people. And he's got a great following, and he's gotten great results, and he's good at what he does, and he's well known in the industry. That's who he is. He wouldn't try and be somebody like C.T. Fletcher. Now, if you've ever seen C.T. Fletcher, let me tell you something. Get ready. You've been warned. You're gonna hear some stuff that probably you don't hear of in the mainstream world. He's brash, he's bold, he makes no apologies for the way he is. He's down and dirty. You go to his gym, he's part of the Iron Addicts. He started that whole movement. And if you go in his gym and, some people might be like, oh, I wouldn't go there, it's dirty. And, he's got this graffiti art on the wall and the benches are ripped and they have tape on them. And, why doesn't he make it all new? That's not who he is. He came up rough. He had a rough starts and some rough patches in life, and he made a success out of himself based on who he is, because he knew that and he embraced it. He owned it. And because of that, people love him. People love him. And so here you have two very different examples of people in the same basic industry, successful in their different approaches. Why? Because they were real, they were authentic, they were who they were, they owned it, and then they amplified it out there on the web through social media and their videos and their thoughts and their beliefs and their philosophies. So that's what you need to do. When I say know who you are and own yourself, love yourself, embrace yourself, now just put it out there. Whatever your personality is, hey, you're gonna need to talk to a designer if you need to get some designs out there so they can help translate your personality and your style into a design that best reflects your brand, because out of your personality and your style comes your personal brand. So once that's done, hey, I've talked about it already, share it on social. The internet is your friend, and it's all free for the most part for you to be able to just put yourself on as many social channels as you can, share great information, share valuable information, be who you are, and you will develop a following. So that's the basics on how to brand yourself, some things to get started. But slam some comments down below, hit that subscribe button. I want to hear from you. I want to get some feedback on maybe some of the things that you've done to overcome some of your challenges in the branding aspect, or maybe if you have a question you want me to address, I'll answer that either in the comments, or maybe if it's a broad enough topic or requires more explanation, I will bring it up in another video. So hit me up across other social channels, Twitter, podcast, and Instagram, Authentic Rob G. I am Rob G, and always remember, please, always be learning, always stay savvy. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.